Hi folks, how are you doing? The second round of Norway Chess 2015 saw the battle between the number 2 rated player in the world, Fabiano Caruana, still representing Italy, although he's going to switch to USA very soon. And with black pieces we had the world champion, the highest rated player in history, Magnus Carlsen from Norway, and well, the battle was quite an interesting one and we had a decisive result. So let us go. Fabiano plays 1e4, and yes, it was no big surprise. Once again we saw the Berlin defense in the Ruy Lopez. I mean, these guys only could make one round of this tournament without any Berlin endgames. Here it comes for the first time on the second round, and well, Caruana as usually goes for the main line for this infamous endgame. Knight d6, bishop takes, he takes, and the queenless endgame, which has stopped so many players from playing 1e4, but Caruana still keeps trying. He plays h3 in this occasion, h6, we go rook d1, king e8, knight c3, and Carlsen goes knight e7. Well, of course this knight is thinking about being recycled through, I don't know, if sometimes d5 if possible, or g6. Certainly these endgames, these Berlin structures are not very easy to understand sometimes, and this was not an exception. Caruana plays b3. As he himself mentioned, he had played this position with bishop f4 earlier this recently against Carlsen and Dominguez, for instance, without getting too much out of it, so he plays b3 in this occasion. Bishop f5 was Carlsen's reply, attacking c2, and Caruana plays knight to d4, defending c2, attacking the bishop at the same time. Of course, as black, I mean, the bishop pair is some part of your play, so you don't want to give it up. Bishop goes back to h7, and bishop b2. I mean, the thematic e6 here is always in the air. Not sure how good it is here exactly. It would be to consider here. Certainly it seems black shouldn't take, but rather maybe move the knight somewhere, as after taking the computer is giving quite some edge already to white. Black king is quite boxed here. This knight is looking good, threatening things, so at least you're getting rid of black's bishop pair, if not anything else. So taking of course wouldn't be the answer, but yeah, e6 here is always in the air. Caruana rather plays bishop b2, preparing his pieces, rook d8, knight c to e2. Once again here it was Caruana who mentioned a game instead of knight c2 with e6 when well, he said he saw Polgar playing this, probably with knight c8. That game followed. Quite a tense and sharp position it looks here. Really looks dangerous for black with almost all his pieces on the back rank, king in the center, this pawn on e6, but that was another game. Rook d8, knight c2 was played, and black plays knight to d5. The knight moves again to come to the center, but only to be kicked out again to b4 in this case, and knight f4. Well, e6 is begging to be played someday, so it seems it's quite thematic here. Caruana, I would say he's preparing it more or less, taking space with his pieces. And here Carlsen went rook g8, which Caruana thought was a mistake. He was expecting more a move by the black bishop, like bishop e7 or bishop c5. He said bishop e7 would be quite useful, as you're controlling this square diagonal. You could go to g5 maybe, but rook g8 was played, and now probably the idea of this is to play g4, try to activate this rook, but Caruana plays g4 himself, kind of stopping this counterplay. And now it is not so clear what black should do, at least to my eyes. I mean, I would be completely lost here with black pieces, probably with white as well. So knight a6 was played here by Carlsen. There was mentioned this variation by the commentators after the game, by Jan Gustafsson and Caruana himself. Knight c2, and if knight takes, well, exchanging rooks and taking on c2. After rook d2, bishop h7. Well, Caruana said this probably was playable, but it looks really bizarre to have all these pieces boxed up here. So knight a6 was played. Now knight f5, knight to c5, rook takes, king takes, the other rook comes to d1 with check, king to c8, oops, king to c8 was played. Now bishop a3. Well, some tension there. This knight has succeeded into getting to f5, and knight e6 was played by Carlsen. Here couple of exchanges are possible. It is very important not to fall into a nice tactical trap. White takes on e6, and well, here you may want to try it by yourself. F takes e6 is a bad mistake, and the refutation of this move is not so obvious. It's quite a cute tactical move. Let's see if you can see it. Bishop e6, double exclamation mark. We're threatening to checkmate on d8, and of course if white, black takes, well, this is a fork, taking the exchange, thank you, and winning the game basically. So f takes e6 would be here a huge mistake thanks to this superb bishop e7 move. Nice idea. That's why of course the world champion can spot these things. Would expect that he takes on a3 rather, but this is making possible Caruana to win the pawn on g7. So he wins a pawn, having a pleasant position. I mean, his task is not like automatic, it's done, but black has the bishop pair, but certainly he's looking very good here. Bishop went back to f8, e6. If black keeps being greedy here, this pawn is going dangerous, so he takes on f5, knight takes, f takes e6, knight goes back. But here, I mean, black's task of defending is very uncomfortable and ugly. His queen set majority is basically useless. The king is cut, he's not participating, and white's moves are really easy, just pushing his pawns. Black has a couple of weak pawns. Well, this is really technically winning basically, and we're gonna see, unfortunately for Magnus Carlsen, how white is going to deliver. Now this pawn is attacked. Last interesting tactical position, if black is to play e5 to defend this pawn, there is another very strong tactical shoot here, and certainly a strange one as well, because here white is winning with the f4 move. Well, what's the point behind this move? If black takes, there is check, king here, and what a checkmate, right? Knight f6 checkmate. This king really feeling the pain being checkmated with only two pieces. His own bishop is not helping him too much here. So after rook e3, rook e7 was played, defending the pawn, but now f4, and these pawns are starting to roll. Bishop a3, king up, bishop b2. There is not that much Carlsen can do here. Bishop c3, g5, king d7. Okay, he gets his king inside into the game, but probably too much. King g4, rook e8, and this goes on. h4, defending the pawn, and after a couple of moves, this is already protected passer. f5. Well, interesting here, an intermediate king to f4, not going into tactical things. Need to be still protected, and after rook h8, now we recapture with the knight. Bishop f6, rook g2, and this is going to be pushed, and it's basically over. So Magnus Carlsen resigned after 45 moves, losing his second game in a row. Both 2 games of this tournament so far he has lost them. Remember, yesterday he lost again against Topalov on time, having a winning position. That was quite strange and unpleasant, of course, for him. And well, digging a big hole for himself, as he himself told in the press conference later. But okay, he's the world champion. Let us see what happens in the following rounds. So far, thanks for watching.